been a while since I've made a video, so let's get to the goddamn point. I really like Peggle. A lot. I've liked Peggle ever since I was 7 years old and I played it on my Xbox 360. I've liked Peggle 2 ever since I first played it on my PS4 in 2016. I've liked Peggle Knights ever since I bought the Peggle collection on Steam for like 98 cents. I've liked Peggle DualShot ever since I discovered it existed a couple months ago. Peggle Blast also exists. How do we feel about Peggle Blast?
It fucking sucks.
I believe it. I've been in a bit of a creative rut recently. Originally, I was going to review American Theft 80s, and then it was going to be Invincible Season 3, and then it was going to be Sonic Tennis. Obviously, none of those videos happened. They got as far as a script and then they were scrapped, and I feel it's because I didn't have the passion for them. I just didn't feel like I had enough of an opinion to warrant a review. However, on the contrary, I'm quite passionate about Peggle, and there's not going to be any jokes about pegging in this video, so don't start. Have you guys ever been talking to someone at work or at school about a game they're enjoying and they say something along the lines of, "Oh, it's like blank but"? Yeah, I really hate that phrase. I hate when people say stuff. But sadly, it is the best description of Peglin. It's Peggle, but it's a roguelike. Let's explain both of those for the uninitiated because I understand that some of my audience might touch grass. The main gameplay of Peggle is simple. You fire balls from the top of the screen in order to hit pegs. The primary gameplay objectives are the orange balls, which are required to complete the stage, but there are also green balls that activate special abilities. All other pegs serve the purpose of building score, which can lead to a free extra ball and an achievement, I guess. That is probably the worst description of Peggle ever, but it'll have to do for the sake of clarity. Peggle was developed by PopCap and released in early 2007. If you haven't played Peggle, I would suggest everyone to at least try it. It's immensely fun, satisfying, loaded with charm, and also goes for extremely cheap on Steam. It is a classic. Now, if you aren't aware of PopCap's fate, you may be wondering why there aren't any new Peggle games coming out. Well, the reason is quite simple. It's actually... Okay, it might not actually be that simple. Popular opinion within the Peggle community is that Peggle 2 is not very good. Honestly, I think they're all a bunch of whiny haters, but Peggle 2 definitely wasn't impressing shareholders with its reception. However, the real nail in the coffin was Peggle Blast, a pay-to-win mobile game that has similar scummy tactics to Candy Crush. It didn't do very well, as you can imagine, especially not at that point of the gaming industry where people were actively hostile towards mobile gaming in general, even the good ones. And as you can imagine, ever since 2014, EA has shown zero interest in resurrecting Peggle. This would be a phenomenal place in the script to move on to Peglin, but I still want to make sure I have all my bases covered. Let us return to my statement from earlier. We know what Peggle is now, but what's a roguelike? Well, to be as general as possible, a roguelike is a game with randomly generated levels and permadeath, meaning you lose all your progress when you die. Lots of roguelikes follow the theme of dungeon crawling, where players gather various weapons, magic equipment, and armor, and they fight various monsters. I would consider it a genre trope to a certain point, kind of like the military shooter. Generally, roguelikes reward multiple playthroughs, successful or not. You don't generally play the game once, beat the final boss on your first attempt, and then shelve the game. This type of gameplay loop isn't for everyone, but they've definitely gotten pretty popular as of recent. There's tons of examples, but the big ones I believe are The Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, Darkest Dungeon, and Ocho as of recent. On that note, please play Ocho, it's fucking phenomenal. There's tons more that goes into roguelikes and the many games in the genre, but that's really all you need to know for this video. Okay, Peggle but a roguelike, let's actually begin talking about it. Released in August of 2024, this is by far the most recent game I've covered yet. At this rate, I'll wind up in the New York Times. I'm going to start off by congratulating Red Nexus Games. You guys did good. I like this game. But it's not without its faults. After the last video on Sniper Ghost Warrior, I'm not really interested in being mean this time around. This is a no checkpoint certified nice video, so let's talk about what I like. Luckily, I like a lot of stuff in this game, so we can proceed forward with a basic overview. Firstly, I think Peglin looks pretty good. It's not going to blow you away or anything, but it's easy on the eyes and will run on basically anything. A lot of the character and enemy designs are actually really funny to me for some reason. Like, what's this tall dude doing? Why does the dragon just punch you like that? It's great. I fucking love cute little dudes. Secondly, Peglin has some great tunes. This may come as a shock, but they're very similar in style to Pegl's smooth beats. When I first started the game, I heard that music and was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Anyway, let's move on to gameplay now. While Peglin is heavily inspired by and even named after Peggle, the two games have very different goals. Peglin has enemies, bad dudes, look at them, they're evil. This guy probably pays with nickels at the gas station. Who the fuck does that? Most gameplay is spent killing these dudes. Well, how do you do that? Well, you hit them with your balls, of course. Each peg hit as the ball goes about its ballness adds damage to your attack. Once it leaves the screen, you launch the ball at the enemies. If you're lucky, they die, but if not, the enemies get a turn to move and attack.
They finally did it. Turn-based combat that doesn't want to make me smash my balls with a hammer and then nut all over the wall.
Just like in Peggle, we have some different peg types to spice it up. The first two are crit and reset, and these are crucial to gameplay. The crit peg does exactly what you think it does. It makes your attacks do more damage. How much more entirely depends on the ball you're using, but generally crits are big damage. The reset peg entirely resets the board, respawning all hit pegs. This is vital, because the goal isn't to clear the board like in Peggle, it's to deal damage, and you have to keep hitting pegs to deal damage. The last special peg types are bombs. There's two of them. They both get thrown before you attack with your ball, and they're quite useful. Unsurprisingly, hitting every enemy on screen no matter what is pretty handy. The only difference between the two bomb types is damage, really. The black ones do 50 and the red ones do 200 at the cost of some self-damage. All of this together is already some half-decent gameplay. As I've already said, Peggle is fun. Where Peglin really hits its stride, though, are with the relics and different ball types that you can obtain in a run.
I've never heard anyone talk about this, so I'm gonna do it. Did you know in Peggle Dual Shot the ball is actually smaller than it is in other versions? That makes it much harder, especially in the challenge mode. Aside from that though, it's a pretty decent port. Probably the best way of playing Peggle on the go. Except the mobile port of Peglin, but I mean, who's asking, right?
If you play a lot of roguelikes, then relics are nothing new to you, but if you touch grass, then they might need a little explanation. When a relic is obtained, its effect is always active, so it's a permanent upgrade to the player. I think the devs The devs? Really? Are you shitting me? I think the devs have done an absolutely fantastic job designing these relics. Some of them can make massive changes to the normal gameplay, and others are just small bonuses, but their primary function is still making the player more powerful. Mixing and matching relics in a run leads to immense satisfaction. I never thought I would play a Peggle game that makes me feel the same way Doom or Payday 2 does. Some of these relics are dangerously fun to use, notably this one, Wand of Skulltimate Damage. It doubles all damage, but does damage to yourself every 30 pegs hit. This makes some balls have obnoxiously high stats, but it is risky. 30 pegs isn't a lot, and if you don't have some way of healing mid-battle, then you run the risk of just straight up dying without the enemy hitting you. Of course, this isn't the only amazingly fun relic. You can also mix together every bomb buffing relic and do stuff like this. The fuck out.
Cookies. This shit's cool.
It'd also be a disservice not to mention the Unicorn Horn, which gives every shot Bjorn's iconic super guide ability. Peglin actually has more gameplay references to Peggle than you'd think, but I think it's cooler for you guys to play the game and see them for yourself. Hey guys, it's Editor Spoopa here, as you can tell because there's literally no lighting in this room. I just want to bring this up real quick. Some people, especially on Reddit, they think that Peglin is really annoying because its physics are close to Peggle, but not exact, so when they don't behave as you expect, like it's almost how it should be, but not quite. It's like kind of off-putting. A lot of people mentioned that. As someone who's played literally every Peggle game and beaten them, and recently I beat Dual Shot basically right before I started playing Peglin. I didn't really notice it. It didn't really bother me, especially because of how many mechanics there are in Peglin that change the basic physics. I'll get into that later in the video. But I didn't really notice it, but I felt it is worth mentioning because of how often I'm actually seeing it crop up browsing Reddit while I should be editing. But yeah, that's editor's poopa. That's Cole behind me. Hi, Cole. Yeah. Much like the relics, I think Peglin has done a great job making unique and fun balls to use. If you've been paying attention like a good boy, then you'll have already seen a couple of my favorites, but for all of you hoodlums, let's talk about some balls. Balls have 3 primary stats. Base damage is how much they deal per regular peg hit. Critical damage is how much they deal per peg hit after activating a crit, and the final stat, which isn't actually listed on every ball, is their gravity, or how bouncy they are. Most pegs have normal gravity, but there are enough that don't for me to consider this a primary stat. This isn't where the fun ends though. There are tons and tons of balls that provide unique status effects, transform hit pegs, revive pegs, shoot lasers, chain lightning, and punch babies. There's over 100 balls in the game, and there's none that I don't enjoy using in some way or another. I do hate pronouncing them though. Most ball names include ball or orb in some way, and it makes it actually really annoying to talk about them. I do not want to have to say best foot 4 warb or elect orb or go for the circle. Barring the names though, I do want to say I am in love with most of Peglin's balls available. Some balls are weaker than I'd like to be at the start, but luckily after each fight you can upgrade them, to a max of 3 times. You can also heal and buy new balls after each fight. Didn't know where to mention that. Anyway, a minor thing of note is how much stronger some balls get with those upgrades and how some kind of get shafted. You would think a ball that chains lightning would be easily one of the best in the game, but without a few specific relics it isn't very good. Please buff lightning ball. Make it rarer or buff the base stats, I don't know, but I hate how it is right now. It doesn't even get anything from crits until it's max level, the fuck?
Did you know that if you drink enough, you unlock fun driving?
So Peglin is a good game at its core. The relics, special balls, and big damage numbers all combine to make it a wonderfully enjoyable experience. When I first played it, I sunk a lot of time into it, and now my boyfriend is addicted as well. It's easy to see why the game has 12,000 positive reviews, and I was ready to be one of them. But alas, my time has come to be mean and cruel. I think Crucible really sucks, and it sucks that it sucks.
For this next section, I need you guys to remember that I do like this game. You should support it. You should buy it. You should give it a positive review. But I'm about to be very mean to it. So let's get with that.
Alright, let's get down to it. Crucible is the game's form of replayability. After you beat all 3 levels and finish a playthrough, you gain a Crucible level, which you can choose to apply on the next run. There's 20 in total, and they stack together. This is all well and good until you realize with each progressing one, the game gets less fun and all of my small annoyances become worse. Now, I'm not complaining the game gets impossibly hard. Peglin is pretty chilled in the difficulty department compared to other roguelikes. I'm complaining it just becomes straight up less fun. A minute ago, I was praising how fun it is to mix and match balls and relics to do crazy high damage. Well, that becomes less and less common and harder to do at higher Crucible levels. In effect, as you play more of the game, its best parts get nerfed along with the player. I could end the video right here, but who doesn't like some good old-fashioned complaining? We can start with my 2 biggest annoyances in the entire game. Pigment of Imagination and Slime Boss. Yeah, they just called him Slime Boss. Oh, whatever. I think it's a Dragon Quest reference. I don't know, honestly. These 2 bosses have a couple of things in common. 1, they annoy me. 2, they aren't actually that hard. I rarely died to them. 3, they are very frustrating. And 4, it's all because of the peg layout. In the case of Slime Boss, it is very easy to see how this layout could be annoying. These slime pegs do add to damage when you pass through them, but they also kill all momentum and make it hard to actually get anywhere. Is there a crit or reset on the other side of the screen? Well, I'm sorry, but you just aren't getting it. Compared to the rest of level 1, this layout can be way more punishing than it has any right to be. The same can be said for Pigment as well, but for different reasons. Strangely enough, I believe the low point in difficulty is easily the bulk of level 2. I tend to breeze through it, so that makes it suck really hard when I get Pigment instead of Ballista or the Demon Wall. Now, I could easily write a couple of complaints about those other 2 bosses from level 2, but honestly, Demon Wall is easy and Ballista is just a DPS check, and regardless, neither of them are as annoying as Pigment. On the surface, you may not think she looks that hard, and I would agree with you, but then you actually fight her, and it sucks. My issues are twofold. One would be the layout, just like Slime Boss, and the other would be how she kills you. It is the definition of death by 1,000 cuts, and it's infuriating. Now, about that layout. It really doesn't seem that bad until you notice that paintbrush in the middle of the screen that seems to always magically make your balls do what you don't want them to do. Call this a skill issue, I don't care, it's annoying. Do you really want to fail to hit a reset peg 3 times in a row while continually ticking for poison damage? No, you don't, dip-ass. And you know what's crazy? Everything I just said gets worse every time you get to a higher Crucible level. It really is frustrating to be unable to hit a reset peg due to some bad RNG, but it gets worse when you only have one reset peg on the entire board, because higher Crucibles take them away. Stuff like that also makes relics that buff crit pegs weaker and less fun to get. In my mind, when I get the relic that, say, makes resets also crit, instead of being excited, I'm just happy that now I have another crit. I'm back to where I was before Crucible nerfed me.
Are my thoughts on Crucible clear now? Great. Let's be constructive for once.
Oh my god, an internet reviewer being constructive? This is crazy. Shut your bitch ass up, Subaru. You pee me so bad, ICL. Now, I had this fun idea. I don't think it should be a crime to make your game harder, but my issue with Peglin's Crucible system is it gets harder for basically nothing in return. I think we could make each Crucible level a little less punishing and also add a new thing. Crucible is crucifix, right? Which is what killed Jesus. So what's a good thing that happened to Jesus? I guess he walked on water, so let's go with whack-a-ball. That works for you guys? Yeah, okay, patent pending, whack-a-ball.
Hey guys, it just occurred to me that there's a small possibility that maybe Crucible is a play on the word crucible. You know, like the book that we all read in the 8th grade. I might have been on crack when I wrote this script.
So, my idea for whack-a-ball would be Crucible level specific buffs that change the way you play in a weird and fun way. I'm not the most creative person on the entire planet, but I have thought of some potentially fun ones. Starting with a random selection of slime balls instead of pebballs, but slime balls are buffed and non-slime balls are nerfed. In this way, players would be rewarded for using the wacky slime balls, and it would force some sort of variety. Another fun one could be tripling enemy health and doubling all forms of damage to the player and enemy. I envision this kind of as a sudden death type thing where it's stomp or be stomped. Obviously these aren't perfect, and I'm sure there's tons more ideas you could come up with, but regardless, these would be more fun and rewarding than starting with no money and getting less of it per battle for no reason. With this system, the game gets harder but also encourages players to explore more of the gameplay sandbox. I am a firm believer in the philosophy that it is the responsibility of the developers to encourage players to experience all a game has to offer. I just sounded like a senator for a second. In all honesty, there are a ton of different ways progression in Peglin could be changed to be more fun and rewarding, and hopefully it does.
So that's Peglin, a game that I like a lot. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This game sat for a very long time in my wishlist, and I honestly regret that a great deal. Peglin is well worth its $20 asking price on PC and $10 on mobile. It's literally only $10 for the same game on mobile, and it's portable. I mean, you could also get it on the Switch, but I mean, who cares about that? Well, that's going to be it from me, you guys. So I'll see you guys later. So, when are we going to review my games? Jesus fucking Christ, I'm fucking getting to it.